looks like we are actually good now, as the ban has happened, so they are here. There we go. Welcome back once again.
We got bans.
Yeah, we got bans. I mean, it's actually banning heroes. That's a good start here. We're ready for a good game number 2, I'm sure. But no, obviously there was a little bit of a lobby issue apparently once again there. I don't know if there was a lag issue or something on their side, but point is that was remade, and here we are now back into game number 2. So.
I mean, it's a blessing in disguise. It gave time to restart the stream and to make sure everything's golden. So
yeah,
hopefully no lag issues anymore. We do see very standard bans across the board. Centaur Slaughter going away first round almost every game. Lone Druid as well. The big mix-up, no more Darkseer in this game. It is done. Prodota doesn't want to deal with it, so not an option for going in at this point.
Yeah, they take it away. Going in, of course, running at the first game, and yeah, overall, it's definitely one of those heroes too. It can kind of set up for some tough matchups as far as the lane goes with your core hero. Some annoying matchups that is, and obviously the wall vacuum combos definitely always going to be a really strong tool as well. So just don't want to deal with it as mentioned. They go first pick Rubik once again though, and clearly a comfortable hero. We saw Come With Me play it earlier, but Insanio played it the previous game. They very versatile on who plays it, but they want to make sure to have it. It seems like so. Coddle coming out for going in. Meanwhile. And there's a Juggernaut.
Yep. I don't know if Prodota would have gone with it again. Garter did play it as well as he possibly could that game, I think. He acknowledged the team was kind of behind as far as the tempo pace, and so he split to make sure he could stay on curve on items so that he was important. But it's a rough gameplay to play that way for a long period of time. So I don't know if they would have gone it themselves, but going in, not even giving him the chance, denying it with a quick pickup there. And we see the Nyx come out on the other side, something that worked very well for them, but I think a lot of that was due in part to the Invoker. And yeah, going in, removing that right away.
Yeah, I don't I don't blame them. Mickey, again, did a very good, but like you said, with the Nyx setup, it proved to be very, very annoying. So, going to take away that option. I mean, is there another hero that maybe can take advantage of a Nyx setup like that so well that outside of Invoker Sunstrike, I guess there's really nothing that, I mean, Zeus? Got a Zeus
not to anything close to that extent, not to the way that they had at that time. I'm really curious to see if the Snakes does fall short without that global presence. It really was a 1-2 punch the first game, and I think not being able to get both of them in one draft phase, like if I was Prodota, I maybe hold off on the Nyx. If Invoker does make it through, then you look to grab both. But yeah, we'll have to see if the Nyx can get the same kind of job done.
That's a good point. Yeah, definitely could have waited off and, yeah, seen exactly if neither one of them's banned, then maybe go for that combo. But they choose to get the Nyx now, and obviously going in responds smartly as they ban out Invoker, going back to that. So Dazzle also being banned out. Another hero that Prodota has actually ran a little bit of, watching some of the later matches here. So again, it's clearly going in. We talked about with the ward, dewarding in the previous game, and clearly doing their research and watching some of these matches here. Sand King and LC on the other side, speaking of doing the research. Taken away by Prodota. LC, of course, being ran by going in the previous series.
Yeah, the one thing this does open up, though, this isn't an opening from Prodota that can't go Wisp. If they want to Wisp here, they could. It'd be a little bit light on damage. Rubik Nyx, not very much straight damage coming out of them, and Wisp, same kind of problem. But if they're really comfortable in that Wisp, and it looks like Come With Me is, they could look to go that route.
Wisp Tiny, let's go. Let's bring back the Wisp Tiny combo.
Wow, that's like 2.5 years ago.
Do it.
That's some classic stuff right there.
It's fun to watch.
The Clockwork pickup's fun. I like seeing this hero kind of come back a little bit. It's extremely fun to watch. Extremely fun, and it's such a versatile hero. There's so much you can do with cogs and hookshot, and it's just really fun to watch. So I'm really excited to see that get picked up. In combination with the Coddle, it does lead to some interesting kill potential early on in the game. Cogs can really let you set up an insane high damage Illuminate.
They go Lifestealer with their third pick. I don't know if it's a response to that necessarily, but still just one that they were also ran earlier, and they got the game that they did run the Wisp with. So I'm not saying, but I'm just saying that there is similarities here. But Lifestealer with that Clockwork pickup, again, Clockwork with those cogs, as you're mentioning, can cause some issues for these melee-esque heroes especially, and Lifestealer definitely fits that. But I guess you're not picking up Lifestealer because there's a Clockwork on the other side, so clearly not enough of a concern at least.
Yeah. I like the Lifestealer overall here. It does really well against Clockwork, and so yeah, I think it's a fine pick. We just gotta see. The laning phase is gonna matter a lot for the Lifestealer. If he can push Clock out, they obviously get a lot more than if Clock's able to sit around and try to pressure the supports a little bit. Going in is going for a huge team fight combo. They want to just, you could look for a hook shot in, you drop a chaotic offering on top, Coddle's there to be throwing damage in. They're going to want to group, they're going to want to fight as 5 really early, and Prodota instantly grabbing that life or
Ban
that IO up.
Storm Spirit. Yeah.
Oh, see, your analytical skills are getting better too.
Getting better every day. Yeah, no, thank you. Again, clearly, I go back to, though, they clearly have done the research and clearly reacting to that. I'm not saying Storm Spirit was the only option here, but that was a scary hero to watch in that game. So
yeah, it's definitely one of the most common pickups. And Prodota needs a lot out of their last pick to shore up all their weaknesses here. Their wave clear is extremely bad. So if going in's pressuring them, especially with Jug Healing Ward, they're really going to fall short in trying to clear creep waves out as they're pushing into the base. So maybe you look for something like a Quap in that aspect, but it's not really a good pairing for the Life or the Wisp then. If you're looking for a good Wisp pairing, you've got stuff like PA. PA is amazing to pair with a Wisp middle. You can just run at stuff and do a ton of damage, as is Ursa, but you're not covering your other problems then. Your team fight didn't really get a lot better. Your wave clear is still terrible. And that might fit the bill for all of it. If this Ember Spirit gets ahead, it can do everything they need it to do. But if it falls behind, they're going to struggle.
You know what's actually really interesting, and I don't know if this is just kind of a meta trend these last couple of weeks or it just happens to be for this event, but this is another one of these heroes that I frankly can't recall seeing an Ember Spirit yet in these open qualifiers yesterday or today, which is just shocking to say, but...
well, if you go back through Dota history, right, Ember was untouched for a long time when he first came out. Then people discovered, hey, Battle Fury into crit, into a lot of damage is really good on him. Once we get to super late game, I can just two-shot people with a Rapier. And so then that kind of rose into power. That got nerfed a little bit and he fell off. Then talents came out and he got spell amplification, cooldown reduction.
Yeah.
He basically just got everything anybody could dream of and people started playing caster Ember. But they've pulled that back. They've nerfed that a lot in the last patch or two. So then he's fallen out of favor again. Like his role is kind of gone. People are trying to wonder what you do with this hero now. And I'm not sure whether we're going to see the old school Battle Fury Wave Clear build come out, or if we're going to see that Gibby all-in Veil build. But I'm definitely excited to see what they do with it. It's so much fun to see a hero like this in a game.
Yeah, and you know he's not the Storm Spirit as far as being able to jump in maybe necessarily, but he does have mobility in his own right for sure. So the brother, is he a brother? Are they brothers? I don't even know the story there as far as the lore goes. With all the spirits.
I can't even say I've read a hero bio, nevertheless know all the lore. Okay. So, wrong person to ask.
I assume that they would be, right? I mean, you got the Ember, you got the Earth, and isn't there like a fourth one too that I think is apparently coming, or people suspect?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, we're past porting now. It's time for innovative new hero designs for the first time in 7 years.
Is there really nothing less to port?
Yeah, no, the last port was Pitlord, Underlord.
Yeah.
Yep. So Wukong was the first new hero in the game.
Cool. New Monkey King.
Yeah.
So innovative.
I mean, what? Han, League of Legends, and Smite all had Wukong come out within 3 weeks of each other.
He might be pretty popular in the gaming world. Yeah.
So it was about time. Had to get added, right?
Yeah. About time to join the party. All right, here we go though. They're pause to kick things off here. Lanes. Any kind of aggressive play coming out on either side, or we think it's going to be pretty passive, you think?
Well, I think PD could, again, kind of go with a semi-greedy start. They could actually do something like a Wisp Nyx off to make sure he can't die and try to get some extra levels out of that if they think that the Rubik Lifestealer is okay. But I want to see what they do with this Wisp, because they need him in every lane right now. You need him in the off lane to make sure Nyx doesn't get pressured out and die. You need him mid because Shadow Fiend versus Ember is really bad for the Ember until like level 4, level 5. And even then it doesn't get a lot better. So yeah, I'm really curious. This mid matchup is on a hair's edge. If Shadow Fiend's ahead, Ember is almost useless against him. If one raise strips off Flame Guard, you just die. Yeah. But if Ember gets a lead or an early kill or an early gank, then all of a sudden the spell shield's not easy to take off. If he's in Shadow Fiend's face, he out damages him. So it's really one of those matchups that's SF favored because SF can clear out the waves, go farm jungle, do everything a little bit faster. But if Ember gets an early gank and gets ahead, he's going to be in such good shape.
Well, we're seeing Shadow Fiend here doing the classic Shadow Fiend Clockwork combo. And he's adding up those charges of these souls. They actually messed up the first time around, but he ends up getting 9 charges, so really not too shabby.
Yeah, it's going to give him a huge advantage in lane. The first 2 or 3 souls are the hardest by far. You tend to, almost wait until raise sometimes to even get your first CS or 2 that really works. But starting the lane with 12 souls and 24 bonus damage is a pretty good start.
How the hell does Nyx already have a last hit?
Did he get a D-Warden?
Oh, maybe that is it then. Okay. Was it? Oh, yeah, I guess there was a D-Ward up here. Yeah, look at that.
Yep.
That must be it.
Yeah, so winning the early vision game. Not getting their ward dewarded this time.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
But they go with a very safe ward placement with that first ward for PD.
Yeah, they like these lane. I mean, again, pretty much every game we've seen them.
Usually we'll see the lane ward come up here or over here a little bit deeper. This doesn't really give you any knowledge of the tower or people rotating in, which is probably fine for a first ward, but it does leave them light on info a little bit. But it looks like we are going to see a bit of an aggressive dual lane coming out here. The Coddle is going to be looking to go with the Clockwork.
Yeah, how about that? He's got that Illuminate from a distance, and right off the bat, he's like, hey, I'm here. There's the cogs even. It kind of burn a little bit onto Garter, so that's a very greedy use of those abilities right off the bat. Level use even.
Yeah, and he may only stay for the first couple waves, because if he gets Illuminates off on the whole creep wave like that a couple times, it's going to bounce off the tower, which is going to let the wave come back to Clockwork and get him more experience. So, yeah, it's an interesting take on the level 1 approach, and I like the idea. We'll just have to see if it pays off.
Middle lane, again, you do see those charges up on Shadow Fiend, already up to 18, of course, taking advantage of those cogs, as we mentioned. And Sol there even with Clockwork, and definitely giving him quite the advantage you'd figure in that middle matchup with the last-hitting prowess. But Mickey's showing that he's not afraid necessarily. He's going to be pushing up, and he has that Flame Guard with the Poor Man Shield. So he has the mitigation himself, but how that continues to play out here. They're pinging out Coddle off to the side. They know he's there. The Rage popped by Lifestealer.
You can know he's there, but if you can't get to him without taking a ton of damage from Clockwork, you don't really have a lot of options.
True.
You just kind of have to dodge him. But what this is doing is giving Nyx a chance to stay in lane. Warlock Juggernaut is not going to kill you unless you get extremely out of position and take a ton of poke damage, so they are kind of giving him a free lane and a much quicker level 6 because of this.
This IO, he might be dead. Coddle. Couple of auto attacks, one more needed. That's a kill. Yeah, first blood coming out. Mickey going in, but couldn't do much. I'm not sure what plan was there, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, they got Shadow Fiend low, but not low enough to really even threaten a kill. It's hard. I think he just wanted to take some of the pressure off Enver, but he played it aggressive like he did with the Storm Spirit a couple games ago, and it definitely didn't pay off the same way. Shadow Fiend also did something a little bit cool as a build diversion, I guess. He went to boots of speed before getting a bottle or anything, and that gave him the movement speed to run away from that gank and then close it back on the Wisp afterwards.
That's true, yeah. Definitely coming into play right there, you could say. So perhaps catching the Wisp off guard, the diversion, as you pointed out, and learning his lesson, going to go back into the jungle even and use those spirits to continue to farm on up. Of course, has that bottle, but not the strong start that we saw from him in the previous series, and kind of bringing his name onto the map with this hero. So, but,
yeah, and I gotta say though, if you're gonna have a game to pick something a little bit off meta or super new, like an Ember Spirit, bringing that back in, this is the game to do it. You already took game 1; it's a best of 3. If you lose one, you're not out. So, maybe it's the time for them that they wanted to try this and see how it would work before the close qualifiers come and really get some in-game testing with it.
That's fair, yeah. But man, that's risky at the same time. And see what you're saying, but it's only a best of 3 here, so
yeah,
only do that so many times, obviously. But Ember Spirit, how is he doing here in the middle matchup? 13-0 against a 19 and 23 Shadow Fiend, but of course a lot of those from the cogs early on.
Yeah, the first 12 or 13 were. So either way, Shadow Fiend's still dominating this lane overall in last hits and denies, but Ember hasn't died, and he's, for the most part, keeping up okay in XP. He's still at the point where one gank that pays off could tip the lane back in his favor, but it's going to be hard here soon. Shadow Fiend's going to get to the point where he can farm the entire jungle and just get way ahead.
You see, come with me here on the Wisp. He is nearby. I saw some pressure on Ember Spirit, so he goes in for the heal, but now Warlock's coming in with the Invis. Not the craziest lockdown, but Clockwork will change that. The cogs coming out. Io, can he maybe save? No, he cannot. More than enough burst damage being used. They drop Ember.
At this point, you almost have to say the lane's over for him. You try to find him farm somewhere else. I would even maybe look to rotate the Nyx into mid, something that's a little more durable and not going to die to the Shadow Fiend as easily. But sending him right back to potentially face his death a couple more times, this is not the start PD wanted to have.
Nope. Now Garter at the bottom lane. He is doing all right here, of course. He's 22 and 5 creep score. He's going to be trapped in. Now the Illuminate actually missed right there, unfortunately. So he's just going to feed off of the cogs even. Now, I'll take some of that bounty, but
the one winning lane, the one shining hope for them right now is the fact that the Nyx is ahead of the off lane here for going in. If he can get something done right when he hits level 6, if he gets a good Vendetta off, that may be their way to try to relieve some pressure and get back in this a little bit. But they really need that first Vendetta to pay off.
Well, it's 5.5 right here, so next minute or so he should be level 6, and we'll see what kind of play comes out of him as a result of getting that Vendetta. Ward put down here the middle lane by Insania to grant some vision around that Shadow Fiend and give more information for Ember Spirit in case somebody is coming on in and trying to set up any gank attempts. But Shadow Fiend, what kind of item are we expecting on him? Well, I guess there's answer in the queue. He's going to be on the Dragonlance, it looks like. Wants to pull it up here.
Generally, it's something like Dragonlance into Shadowblade if you're feeling like going that route. The Ags we've been seeing a lot of play lately. The Ags is fairly strong and still being a damage item for your right clicks because it adds more souls. And the heal from the ult can pay off so huge in a team fight. So I would suspect at some point we're going to see that unless he gets way ahead. If he gets way ahead, he can go whatever he wants. We may see something more aggressive like, I know in the NA scene, an early Butterfly's been seeing a lot of play.
Yeah.
Where he's getting like second or third item Butterfly after the Dragonlance. So we'll have to see what he feels like and what he feels comfortable going. I think itemizing on SF is entirely a comfort thing. It's what are you used to doing because it's such a versatile hero.
Yeah, one of the advantages of playing it, no doubt, is that he can be built many different ways for sure. So this one, in this case, Blazemon here. Going to be going that, again, the Dragonlance at least queued up, so keep an eye on that item build as well. Wisp, meanwhile, scouted things out, trying to hope that the top rune was still there, but speaking of Shadow Fiend, he had just picked it up and makes use of it with the Arcane Rune and starting the regen here. Coddle.
I want to see the old caster SF. I want him to go blink Yules and the eggs.
Yeah. Sets up the Wombo combo with the Chaotic Offering. You got the cogs trapping people in, yeah.
Yeah, if Yules' cast range wasn't so awful, we maybe would still see it, but it's been nerfed repeatedly. It has a huge mana cost, low cast range. It's really hard to go on a mid laner like that anymore.
Oh, Nyx is going to go for an opening, steals some creeps, and he gets the kill on a Coddle. That's a win-win for sure. But now he's in a very dangerous spot. In fact, here comes Insania, though. The lift up was going to push him back. Yes, he is. Not going for a turn, and Insania's going for the TP immediately, so he makes the escape. Does he buy the time for Nyx to actually truly get out of here? Looks like he will, unless maybe a hook shot. No, it's not even level 6, so.
Yeah, no, that's the problem with running this dual off lane. They lost a lot of experience on the clockwork in doing it, and Nyx got level 6 faster, and they were able to get something big out of it. So maybe that's the shining hope for PD. That's a very, very big kill to get, and you disrupted that double stack being cleared, so.
Yeah, that's what you were suggesting earlier. Get the Nyx with the Vendetta, get a kill out of it especially, and certainly does, so. Plus more even, it's a distraction, open wounds on a clockwork. Now the pathing of Nyx, not the friendliest there. He throws out the impel, but he misses even on top of that. The cogs kind of causing the issue. And they will have to jet on out of there together. Garter actually taking over the creep, but that's an unfortunate missed kill on a clockwork.
Yeah, it really is. But the one huge good thing here for PD, the Warlock is extremely far from level 6. 8 minutes into this game, he's still looking for level 4. And the laning situation they presented themselves with, sure, it did well in the early game right away, but now they're starting to feel the pain. They don't have the levels on their supports to really help.
Nyx, he's MVP status so far, because he's the reason they have these 2 kills. Obviously, getting the one himself, and right there, he didn't get credit for the kill, but he might as well have, because he sets up there as Ember Spirit obviously follows with the IO, and they catch Shadow Fiend off guard, going for that 8-minute rune control. So yeah, talk about the getting under-leveled somewhat. Juggernaut's also somebody that we haven't really seen yet have impact in this game. Of course, he's been farming at the top, so in that sense he has been. But he's been kind of AFK doing his thing, so PD has been taking advantage elsewhere, as Cheshire Cat will have to run away before Omni Slashes pop. But yeah, Warlock level 3, man. He is struggling, isn't he? He's going to do a pull right here. Should at least get level 4.
Yeah, this game's kind of a mirroring of last game. Last game you had PD with the 2 super farmed heroes, and then like a whole team that was way down below them. And going in had more like 4 to 5 heroes all in the close net worth proximity. This game, it's the polar opposite. Going in's got 2 super fed people, and we'll have to see if they can actually make use of them without supports, basically.
Yeah. Oh, this is gonna be
so
nice
brave.
Attack. What is that? Oh, is that the Nyx up here?
Yeah. Nyx went in 1v4 and tried to kill SF.
Okay. I was watching the stack being taken. I'm watching PvE over here, man. But okay. Well,
yeah. Nyx went in thinking he had it, and there was just way too many people. Couldn't find his way out of it. Kind of feeds his life away, which is a little rough when you're kind of the productive person on your team right now.
Yeah, so a little bit of Caster's Curse perhaps, because we're praising him so much, but getting a little overconfident, so he throws himself at them. But as I was saying, to watch it on camera, they're all missing that kill, unfortunately. But Ember Spirit taking out a big stack here in the jungle, and he already has his Villa Discord now, so obviously that answers that question from earlier.
Yep.
This is more the typical build of late, but oh, bottom lane, Gardner's diving onto DNC. One more auto tech, no, not enough for the kill, actually. And now he needs to invest a creep. It looks like he does actually stay alive at the time being. Coddle is picked off in the back on the Porden with Io with the Ember Spirit. Mikey's going to feel the pain. The Remnants, he finally gets them off right there. And now Mickey, however, he is pretty committed in a bad spot. Wisp was picked off. The Raze nuke hits. And down goes Ember. So maybe not the exchange they were hoping for. Dive in a tower like that. The response was ready.
Yeah, it absolutely was. They got 5 heroes there. The Nyx didn't have a TP on him, so he just couldn't join that fight, making it a 5v4 under the tower. Definitely did not go how they wanted. The Ember could have gotten that kill a lot cleaner, but his wand was on cooldown, and he was about 4 mana off of actually going to his Remnants. So we saw him throw a few down there to try to clean up that last kill, and then he couldn't go to him.
Yeah. Unfortunate there for PD, but well played by going in as far as response again. And you do see actually Insania stole one of the raises right here, so using that to harass and poke in some damage meanwhile. As they are going to be pushing though, 5, but now you have Nyx being here and Ember Spirit coming back in, so we're going to have a big 5 versus 5 clash. Hookshot in the background on Insania, but is that really the best target? Requiem of Souls going off from the background. Insania willing to falling on that Rubik. Mickey jumps in. Clockwork, he's dropping pretty low. Spiked Carapace stun onto him. A couple more auto attacks should do him in, but he's just too far. They cannot chase him down. Their melee core is unable to catch up. Nobody, Rubik's the only one dead so far. It's surprising that he is the only one dead. His Garter will fall back as he takes some good damage from Shadow Fiend right there. But man, they were playing that very safe on the dire side.
It was unfortunate for PD. They couldn't find a way into that fight really. The Cogs blocked the Nyx out entirely from the path he wanted to take with Vendetta. And yeah, it was just sad. The healing ward ran for so long and it kept the Clockwork alive.
Healing ward doing a lot of work. Level 4, of course. Plenty of health per second. Meanwhile, though, lift onto the Juggernaut, but he has a spin. Finds himself in a dangerous spot. Might be looking in that dangerous spot right now. He go back in. The Chaotic Offering coming out. Ember Spirit, though, jumps out of Shadow Fiend with Carter on that Lifestealer. Shadow Fiend will be picked off. He is not rejoining this fight. The Chaotic Offering gonna kind of chase them down, but Lifestealer coming out of the Infest. And now looking to push themselves. And yeah, Shadow Fiend staying dead for another 25 seconds. Now it's PD's turn to make a big push right here. Kill off the Golem and go for the tower push on top of that. Maybe even more if Juggernaut sticks around, but he'll keep his distance.
Yeah, they're going to definitely be happy just to get the tower if they can get it cleanly. They may get pushed off of this just from the wave clearing from Illuminate. The Coddle went an odd build. He has no points of mana leak and he's level 6 already. So it's a very selfish build. It's a build that's just meant to clear waves out and Chakra teammates basically.
Huh.
Man, not having mana leak is rough.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, like something like a Lifestealer, it's a little bit discouraging, but overall, it doesn't seem like it's something where you're like, oh, I just don't want to get mana leak because, so. It's a little odd seeing that. I agree there, but Garter, man, he's getting low. West doing a good job. Of course, keeping him up. We mentioned the Illuminate span. Speaking of Coddle, obviously doing plenty there, but not enough to keep them pushing.
Going in following PD's trend from last game, they just kind of gave it up. They left Coddle there to illuminate and slow it down, and Blaze was able to take a counter tower in mid. So essentially a break-even trade, maybe even slightly going in favor there by the end of it because they were farming other lanes when PD had to commit 5 to that push.
Yeah, Shadow Fiend still in the Radiant Ancients as well, I believe, during that. So definitely a lot of swings of momentum coming out right there. And Shadow Fiend with a Dragonlance finish. It looks like a Shadow Blade is, of course, lined up for him. We'll see if he goes the full Silver Edge. Is Silver Edge a good item here? I mean, it's Lifestealer.
I mean, it's okay. It's not particularly great. The biggest benefit you get from it in that is the shorter invis cooldown on Silver Edge versus Shadowblade. So you get to use the invis to go in, and then if the fight drags on a little bit, use it again to get out or reposition. But I don't see him going it super early. I think it's going to be Shadowblade into BKB.
Mikey on Clockwork, by the way, he gets that Hand of Midas and looking to finish off even that Magic Wand, but with the Tranquil. Blade Mill on him, is that going to be a good item? It feels like on Clockwork it tends to be.
Yeah, overall, I think he's going to have to look to go that. The other option is going something like Force Staff, which is very good against Lifestealer here, because you can just Cogs and then Force Staff out of your own Cogs, and kind of just leave him in a prison he has to attack his way out of. So, could be an option for him as well.
Juggernaut has the Yasha in works right here. Almost completing it. Just going to farm more in the jungle in the meantime. Has to be a little bit careful because there's, I guess, an Invis Rubik who does have that level 4 Blade Fury stolen. Get some good damage out. But where's that Vendetta up Nyx Assassin? He's not Vendetta currently. He's farming the creeps. He actually went his own Hand of Midas.
Yeah, there's so many Midases. So many players just assuming the game's going to draw out a little longer, I guess. And on Nyx, I guess I can kind of understand it. Your farming is pretty terrible, and you want to be getting gold between Vendettas, and Midas can definitely help out with that.
Oh, top lane.
This Rubik has clung to the Stolen Blade Fury for so long. The spell steal actually times out in about 5 seconds, so he's had it for 3 minutes.
Well, nothing else to be stealing. I guess not too much has been happening this last 3 minutes here as far as
it's got him good waves. I mean, again, we're just going to see trades.
Yeah.
Teams don't want to really fight right now. Jug with the Helm of Dom is allowing him to turn into a tank, basically, for these towers. So even without a creep wave, they're going to get bottom tower here as well. And just a nice little 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, be happy with that. Lifestealer is continuing to push it out up top here. The Echo Saber lined up next for him to go with that armlet, of course. And Isle nearby again has the relocate if they find an opportunity right here. But nothing coming up just yet. Mickey, meanwhile, bots have been finished on him to go with the Veil. The Blink Dagger queued up. So obviously when it comes to mobility and the jump, he's definitely keeping to that trend right here.
Yeah, the one thing, though, that's interesting in this game, the win conditions are kind of switched. PD Cup's now, or PD Gaming is now the team that needs to take initiative. They need to be the ones doing things, because in the ultra late game, they will get outscaled hard. The Lifestealer is not really known as a carry that scales super well into 6 items. This Ember build in particular doesn't scale insanely well. So they've got to do things in this early game.
That was a little unfortunate for IO right there in the sense that they tried to set up a gank on a Juggernaut, but obviously a very good response by Juggernaut as they were relocating in with the Ember and then with the Lifestealer inside the Ember, so essentially the 3-man port. They didn't execute good enough. He ported out, and then, of course, Isles sent back to the top lane where they knew he would appear, and they eventually killed him. So that's the obvious downside. And a good reaction on the part of going in right there, though. So they're going to use that to also now split push again as they push the top lane on top of this. So Oyasumi playing the Juggernaut right here. He's well in the works of the Manta style as the middle tower trying to be pressured by Prodota. Port's coming into the shrine, though. They are not giving this up freely by any means. There's
nor do they want to. They definitely want to be doing things early game at the moment, just because they have so much damage between Illuminate, Raises. Like, going in has this weird thing where they're strong right now, because Illuminate, Raises are so strong. If they get a hook shot, they can just kind of win a team fight. And then they kind of fall off in the middle game, where the first BKBs start coming, maybe a pipe gets picked up by somebody, and then they come back really strong in the late game once Jug hits that 6 items. You've got Warlock just dropping Chaotic Offerings. So they can make some plays here for the next few minutes, maybe even look to secure an early Roche if they get good vision control around it. And then it's going to be back to the farm game for them unless they get a pretty big lead off that.
Yeah, this BKB on Shadow Fiend, man, this is an early Black King bar. And I feel like I've had Kokaster talk about this before, like, getting an early BKB could almost be bad in some logic, you know, the sense that you're using it earlier on and thus the charges going down earlier on.
Yeah, it definitely can be. I think on Shadow Fiend it's not the worst thing in the world, especially if he isn't really looking to be a huge right clicker in the late game, and you have a Jug, who's one of the best hyper carries late in the game. But he just needs to make sure he gets the ult off. Like, the ult is going to be what makes or breaks some of these team fights in the early game, and having the BKB all but guarantees that for them. So I think he just wanted to make sure, okay, I can press this button, press R, and I know it's going to happen.
Yeah. See, they try to catch Wisp right there, but obviously does a good job of leashing to his teammate. Going to be fine, but the Aegis is picked up by Shadow Fiend. And again, with that BKB, definitely ready to team fight right now. You have Clockwork also pushing up. He's trying to finish a Blade Mill, actually almost there, but 2,100 gold saved up, but not purchased just yet. And the split push continues. Talk about avoiding fights. We've had 12 hero kills in almost 20 minutes here between these two teams, so definitely making a priority of that. Again, it is a 1-0 Prodota lead here in this best of 3, guys. So for those that are just tuning in, perhaps kind of catch you up, this being the finals, of course. But Blazemon will get credit on the middle tower kill. Do they go 2-3 here?
Probably not. I mean, they kind of, in a way, could. Your hook shot's up in 3 seconds, your chaotic offering's up. And PD is not super great at defending. I said earlier, they're going to struggle to clear waves. I'm going to say that all day. Prodota Gaming wants to make plays. They want to be the ones setting the pace of this game, but they can't defend well. If they're taking a fight, if they're going on a tower and then decide when they want to fight, they have a pretty good roster for that. They can go for a pick off with Ember. You've got Vendetta on Nyx. Even Rubik just lifting someone slightly out of position is pretty big, but they can't hold a tower very well. If going in is posted up, ready, and has that healing ward down especially, it's extremely hard for Prodota to find a way in.
That was interesting right there. They did a good job of stopping Clockwork from TPing back to the bottom lane. They were trying to set up a counter gank on either the Lifestealer or the Nyx, but I think stopping the TP on Clockwork of all heroes is obviously the prime one. Middle lane, by the way. Oh, this could be a kill if he lands the Impale. And unfortunately, again, it is a bit of a skill shot. Missing that one right there.
And even then, they may not have had the damage to do it. The Juggernaut does have his Manta done. He's fairly tanky, and as soon as that Impale drops, he just spins and runs.
Yeah, no, it's probably, again, one of the cases, maybe a blessing in disguise, so the fact that he does survive. Now, this tower, speaking of barely being alive, it's that case right here. They really, it is tempting, of course, but they're still just not confident enough to really just go for it. Is this Radiant side, so they're going to fall back. You do see Maelstrom has been finished on Ember Spirit, so he actually chose to go that over the Blink Dagger first.
Yeah, and it's mostly a wave clear thing. They notice that they're struggling with it. Maelstrom does provide good wave clear. In the first iterations of this build in the pro scene, we were seeing Radiance instead of Maelstrom.
Yeah.
But it's harder to clear waves with it because your body has to be there to do the burn, not just sliding through and getting Maelstrom procs. And it takes so long to buy. Such an expensive item. So this will give them some chance just to hold off on towers and slow the pushes down a little bit. But
oh. Wisp picked off, meanwhile, middle lane, blinded lane push out, and the mana leak actually putting the stun out there on the Nyx Assassin as a result, but so he does have that now, but Nyx is going to walk it off, so Wisp kind of playing the sacrificial lamb as they pour back and attempt to get both of them, but good job at least staying alive. But again, that middle tower barely remains alive itself. Now a decision to make for going in. It looks like they're going to be going in right here with the Aegis on Shadow Fiend still.
Yeah, you can definitely threaten here. He did pick up Hurricane Pike as well already on the Shadow Fiend, extremely early. So he is at the 2 most defensive items he could buy in this game. It's very, very hard to kill him if he just wants to sit there and click on your tower.
That's exactly what he's doing. And the spin from Juggernaut in the front lines as well, also making it difficult to hold this off right here. So that is an easy tower kill. Insania's dropping. Getting some heals from the Wisp right here. Barely going to stay alive, and now make it the Aegis use. No, he does a good job of getting force staffed away, and now comes
Look
the
at
healing
this healing.
Ward.
Yeah, between Healing Ward and Shadow Ward, they can basically pop him back up to full between waves.
Now, Lifestealer's counter pushing the top lane this whole time, by the way, so he is getting some good damage.
Yeah, he managed to get to T2. Looking to come back for the fight now, though. They don't want to just give away Arax, but it's still going to be hard for them to stop.
I feel that Aegis doesn't have a lot longer left on it, but oh, in the background, the opening with Lifestealer, the infest popping out, Kata goes down, the Rucking Assault from the BKB, out comes the Chaotic Offering as well, and now Lifestealer in a horrible spot himself, can't be toggling to stay alive right there. It's a 3-for-1 so far, and could possibly be more, because now that means the racks, the buybacks of both Rubik and Lifestealer. Mickey's out of mana though, he has to pop a Shrine nearby. They will do so, the range racks goes down, the spin from Juggernaut, they want the mana racks, but they need to be careful about this, about overcommitting. As Shadow Fiend, they go right for him. He just doesn't care though. He's right-clicking that Rax. He gets the kill, and he's going to come back up with the Aegis. He has supporting cast nearby. I don't know if they're going to be able to do enough to actually get the kill. In fact, they go for the Clockwork, but he puts up the Cox and the Blade Mail. I don't want to chase him, but out comes the open wounds, and Shadow Fiend will actually be picked off when it's all said and done.
For that melee Rax at this point, though. It's super early on in the game. PD actually committed 2 buybacks just to save that, so huge net worth gain for going in here.
And they tried to get more there with the relocate of Wisp, as well as the Ember Spirit, but good job with the blinding light, the TP out from Juggernaut. However, Nyx, oh, but he got the invis. That's right. That's unfortunate. Nyx is hunting for him, but he's not going to find him.
Well, not
as he
quite.
walks away.
What an unfortunate spot for PD in this game. They're down to racks already. They committed multiple heroes to try to save that. And when you're forcing buybacks out this early on a lineup that really wants a tempo, they want to be running at your buildings, it's so backbreaking. Like, PD has a huge uphill to climb to even try to stay in this game, nevertheless win it. And I don't see this pressure being let up anytime soon from going in.
Yeah. As far as levels go, you do got level 16 Ember Spirit now, so he's progressing pretty nicely. Got the 6 to all stats as well as that spell amp, of course. But on the other side, he got the 2 level 17s, both Shadow Fiend as well as Juggernaut. And speaking of spell amp, actually, of course, Shadow Fiend getting some of his own to go with that attack speed there. So top lane, though, they're controlling a bit of the map. Nyx Assassin again. 2,200 gold saved up, actually. And the Life Stealer's inside, and there goes the Vendetta. So gonna go on a hunt.
Yeah. PD can essentially move 4 of their heroes around the map at any given point. You have Boots of Travel super early on the Ember. Nyx can go Vendetta, Lifestealer can jump in someone, and Wisp has Relo. So you can move most of your team around the Rubik, essentially, who's the one slow person on your team. And really try to do some cool things with map movement, but they're just in such a hole, they don't really have a lot of those options for them right now.
Wow, he had to just miss him right there. Yeah, he sees the real Juggernaut at the last second, but he just snuck right on by him without even knowing how close he was to actually being jumped right there. So Juggernaut will be fine, and Nyx is not going to find a target now. Lifestealer instead will pop out and just pick up some farm in the meantime. Wants to finish that Desolator, of course, try to amp that damage and be able to get some of these kills. But Shadow Fiend on the other side, 15,000 net worth here. The Butterfly is actually coming along very nicely. The Eagle Song already picked up. Just needs that Talisman of Evasion here. And he will be good.
He's just going to be so hard to bring down. Everything he's building is just super defensive. And with the way Shadow Fiend works with his talents, once he hits level 20, he basically just gets donated 72 damage. Or, yeah, 72 damage. So it doesn't really matter if he builds right-click anymore because he gets donated so much of it through his talent tree.
Wisp. 2 damage per soul. Yeah, the Wisp, he's going to leash to his teammate right there, and that will buy him the distance to escape on. Never mind. Hookshot comes in. And the guy's going to try, can he leash again, though? Yes, he can, and he will actually live. So
it's fun to watch a decent Wisp player play Wisp.
Yeah.
He made a bit of an item change from his normal builds. He picked up a very early Ghost Scepter to try to keep him alive. He had it before the mech, even. So, interesting choice from him, and, you know, it paid off to save his life there. Gardner's just relentless in split pushing. He did it in game 1. In game 2, he got the T3 already to half HP up top, and there was no response from going in at all.
Which is kind of funny. You know, he's not like an anti-mage or in this game like an Ember Spirit for that matter, as far as a split push presence, where it's not like sure, the rage is good for getting away maybe, but he doesn't have that crazy mobility unless he's infesting somebody to jump up there. So the likelihood that whoa, what's going on with there? They got a kill on the Coddle, actually.
Caught him with the chains.
All right, but yeah, point is, I'm almost surprised to see him split pushing so well. Are you?
I mean, at this point, I'm going to be really sad if Twitch chat doesn't make an Admiral Garter meme on Reddit tomorrow.
I'm out of the loop.
Oh, yeah, you didn't watch then. Okay. Admiral Bulldog is an Alliance player who literally built his whole career on split pushing, basically.
Okay, now I know him. And, yeah, he used to play like Nature's Prophet, right, and Lone Druid.
Nature's Prophet and Lone Druid were his 2 big, yeah. 2 big ones. And he'd be known to just be taking her axe while his team's losing a team fight. Even base raced a couple games back in the day. Just him.
Gotcha.
Yep. So, I want the memes, guys.
5 minutes from now, I'm sure Twitch chat will come through for us. There's the pause.
They better. I'm going to be disappointed if they don't. But, yeah, Blaze closing in quickly on that level 20, which is a huge breakpoint. 2 damage per soul is one of the most broken talents in the game right now. It's just an insane amount of damage. So, getting close. Once he gets to that point, it's going to get really scary.
Yeah, you said it was 72 damage.
Yeah, it's literally just double Necromastery is what he gets.
As long as
so it's plus 72. Yep. Which is where the Ags comes in. The Ags got to see a little bit of presence because it ups the maximum amount of souls you can have, which, coupled with the level 20 talent, turns into a decent right-click boost as well.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So yeah, it all kind of compounds into being a decent overall for him, but we are going to see a much more traditional build out of him here. The Butterfly's done. He has Satanic in the Quick Buy next, so just looking to be a tank. He's just going to stand there and click buildings, and when a team runs at him, he'll turn and right-click him.
Yeah. All right, well, as soon as Insania comes back in, resume on to game number 2. Again, a 1-0 lead for Prodota here in this best of 3, but going in has been in the lead for a fair amount of this, but I feel like I said that last game too. And Prodota ended up winning it in the end. Granted, their split push was probably a little more impressive with the likes of the Invoker that time around. Although Ember Spirit definitely brings his own, of course.
Yeah, unfortunately, this build doesn't kill buildings nearly as fast.
True.
So you kind of struggle a little bit there. And the one big thing I'm scared of for PD in this series, or in this game, is their late game isn't nearly as good. You had a level 25 Invoker and a 6-slotted Juggernaut last game. That's arguably the best, if not definitely one of the best 2 hero cores to go super late with. And Nyx Ember is not the same, like, in any way. If you 6-slot both of them out, sure, you can lock someone forever up with Searing Chains. That part's cool. But BKBs are still an item. And Lifestealer just has kiting problems later. If the Shadow Fiend decides to go Scotty after the Satanic, the Lifestealer is just going to have a miserable game.
Yeah. All right, looks like we're ready to go as Insania back in right now. I've also been keeping an eye on other regions, of course. This has been the final of the European region here for qualifier number 1, but it looks like the North America and South America region, in fact, have kicked off for day number 2 as well. And, of course, more noticeable teams. Complexity, actually, they had a tough match in their first match today, apparently. They had to play the QO stack. QO, formerly of Wanted, of course, but that team dropping out. So he kind of formed a team with Stan King, I think a JO as well. So a couple of names there. But Complexity did take care of business. They won that game, so I know people are intrigued. But now Complexity actually plays Red Dota in the quarterfinals. Another decent team, so that could go any way. So, oh, what is this?
Definitely.
What? Okay, that was interesting. He popped the BKB. Now they saw Nyx obviously with a sentry, so he actually popped the BKB and went to right-click him, and Nyx just actually walked away.
I think he was a little scared of Lifestealer being inside of the Nyx.
Okay.
So if the Nyx had gotten onto him with a stun, Lifestealer gets maybe that double echo hit with Armlet on, and then he's in a bad spot. But definitely a little preemptive. But he's just so scared, right? You've got relocation that could have brought the Ember in or the Rubik in. There's so many ways to get gone on that he just hit the BKB and made Nyx run away.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, it's one of those we kind of laugh at and chuckle at a little bit, but exactly, it's like they don't have the information that we have, of course, as far as all that access of the map packs, or at least they hope they wouldn't. That would mean they're cheating. That would be an unfair advantage.
I don't think we've seen that blatantly since Union Gaming.
Heyo.
Yeah, I'm just gonna fire a few shots here and there.
Apparently, God, I'm so out of the loop, man. Blink Dagger queued up for Juggernaut here. He has a Diffusal Blade, by the way. 2300 gold saved up now, and I'm missing kills again, man. Okay, that was a jump on a. It's on Coddle, go figure. And jump him quickly. Was that the Blink Dagger Rubik? I guess it was.
Yeah, it basically gets 2 hit by Lifestealer when he turns the Armlet on. So very, very quick kills. Going to be a little difficult to follow him all the way around the map, but Lifestealer's the linchpin. You want to look at Lifestealer number for sure as being the playmakers here for PD. Yeah. That's all of the damage they have. So. We'll see. The Nyx himself opting for that fairly early Aghanims before a Blink Dagger even, so he does have that done. That's going to help their high ground hold a ton. Being able just to post up behind the tower burrowed, throwing out super long range impales and mana burns, definitely going to be a huge boon to their high ground hold that they didn't have before.
Yeah, very good counter push. You see that earlier on today as far as sitting in that mound and being quite the deterrent as far as pushing on in. Meanwhile, Coddle pops the Rage, does Lifestealer. He's running on in right at his face, but now with Shadow Fiend there, that's going to change the idea of going in. In fact, here comes the initiator with a hook shot. The ulti comes out from Warlock as well. The right clicks in the background from Shadow Fiend. Mickey picking off Warlock back here. Again, he already got the Chaotic Offering off. The open wounds onto Mikey, but he will force staff away. There's that Pearl Strike. Or more so the Impale with the...
It's the Ravage!
The Ravage coming out right there. Ember Spirit, he's flying around, it looks like in the background as well. Garda's trying to be kept alive by the again, another Impale coming out. And now in the background, Mickey does some damage, and they're going to go on out with the Fire Remnant. So kind of just keeping on his toes and keeping them guessing.
The one nice part about this is if you can take a 1-for-1 team fight as PD and they burn Warlock ult, you're in good shape. because Omni Slash got used there, Warlock Ult got used there, and they only came away with a kill on support. Now you have a little bit of time and a little bit of space to decide what you want to do. Maybe you want to go contest this Roshan. Maybe you're looking to take that T3 tower. Yeah, Mike is just looking to go ham for this building here.
In the base over here. God, he's just flying around. Yeah, picks off Warlock in the base, so that's the second death on him in the last minute here, really. And again, going back to the Roshan now, paying attention. He was taking a little bit of damage right there, but Ember Spirit, he's going to rejoin them as soon as he has that regen coming out. He has the Remnant inside the pit, though. Obviously, they're not going to let them have this. Now, there will not be a chaotic offering, of course, from the
Yeah,
Warlock.
and that's a huge part of what won that last team fight for them, or at least put them in okay position, so.
Going on in. Blinding Light stolen, actually. Yeah, he pushes them away. Shadowfeet's down. I don't know if that's a bad or a good spot, but he's missing right there on his right clicks. And again, the burrow from Nyx will be in the midst of this. He is going to be dusted, but now Ember Spirit jumping in the front lines. Coddle locked down for the Syrian Chains. Mickey caught, though, back here by Juggernaut. The ping's coming out. They pick up Coddle. Mickey going to walk it off. He is out of mana. He does have now, as he uses the magic wand right there, and Garter going to be pushed back yet again. But he is fine with that Wisp, helping to keep him alive, and they go back into the Roshan, so they're going to constantly reset here. But, man, with that Clockwork, you got to figure this is never safe. There we go. There's the initiation, the upheaval as well. That's slowing them down massively. Io is dropping it right here as they believe Juggernaut in the midst of that, too. Yeah, he popped the Omni Slash, and the Razors will have to get the kill onto the Io, but down goes Juggernaut, actually. And now Mikey needed to force himself out of the Roshan pit right there. Shadowfiend goes down as well to life till the toggle's coming out. Mickey is unstoppable indeed in the background. A 4-for-1 exchange. How did that go so well for them? I thought that Juggernaut was going to do well.
It kept getting taken in 1v1s and 2v2s. We never had a 5-on-5 fight there. It was always the Clock and the Jug blinked into the pit to fight the Lifestealer and the Wisp. You had these weird scattered skirmishes. Shadowfiend died. With how long that fight took, his Requiem is still up. He could have used it at any point in that. There was never a good time because there was never. And taking these little skirmishes, PD did extremely well. They had favorable matchups in most of them. The Wisp played out of his mind there. Those tethers were huge. They made a nice little play over the Roche pit wall for one of them. So it's just coming down to the fact that going in couldn't get a 5v5 there. If they had, that's a totally different fight. But PD showing how reserved they can be, how calm and collected they can be when they're taking those Roche pit fights.
Oh, he's going to jump on a Akata right here as Ember Spirit, but Mikey going to save the day. Never mind. He uses a Sleight of Fist, and then he
got a Mjolnir proc on the Sleight of Fist for that kill. Oh, that feels so bad.
RNG feels good for Ember Spirit there at least. Yeah, not so good for the Coddle. He's got to be frustrated about that one. Yeah, I want to go back to your Requiem of Souls point, though, real quickly on the Shadow Fiend. And Requiem of Souls, that's actually an interesting ability because a lot of people, think you lining up, it's just so satisfying if you're right on top of somebody, does so much damage. But it's not all about the damage, honestly, because of both the move speed and the damage reduction.
Yeah, so if we look at how that fight went, up on the Roche Pit hill was where he was for most of that fight. When the Clockwork hooked in, if he could have gotten maybe 4 or 5 steps closer in Requiem, the Lifestealer in the Roche Pit, maybe that goes differently. But he doesn't have a Blink Dagger. He couldn't position how he wanted and just couldn't get a decent one off, even accounting for that damage reduction. It's just one of those things. He should have felt the pain of not having a blink there, and maybe he even goes back for it.
That was something. They almost got Shadowfiend right there, but the Rubik actually had stolen the Omni Slash. He tried to use it, but he actually ended up bouncing to the creep wave. He walked away as a result, and meanwhile lifting the back up, but nope, going to be 4 stabs backwards, but that allows for the easy secondary tower push. And yet again, though, Prodota, how about this? They were behind for a lot of this game. Yet all of a sudden, they find themselves actually in a decent spot now as Ember Spirit really is climbing on up. He has the full Mjolnir finished, working on a Lincoln Sphere now, which actually is just about finished, pending a buyback here. And then you have the Lifestealer, though. He has a Demon Edge picked up. Does he have something to be delivered? Yeah, is that going to be a full MKB? Oh my god, it is.
I would imagine so.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
That's dangerous.
It really is. The Shadowfiend's definitely in range of getting bursted now at pretty much any point from him. And we're seeing a difference in playstyles here. The way this Jug is playing the game compared to how Garter played it last game, so different. You're not having that side lane pressure. You're not having the constant split. You're not having the fear of having to move around and deal with him. And we're seeing how probably the reason why Jug isn't picked up as much as he's has been 6 months ago. He really doesn't do as well in these team fights as he was. And it's really hurting them here. They're just not able to find team fight wins with this amazing team fight comp because PD Cup staying scattered, or PD Gaming staying scattered.
A reclaim on the Aegis going to be coming up here in the near future. So we'll see if Lifestealer is able to truly take advantage of that even. It looks like they are. They're setting up here at the top lane. In fact, Nick's Assassin in the front lines. He's hoping somebody's kind of scutting out from the dire side. Not going to get that, though. Instead, you have Illuminate spam coming out from Coddle here in the middle, trying to keep the creep waves pushed up while this top tower is being pushed in. But no doubt Prodota going to take advantage of having the Aegis. And Ember Spirit, he's not up here right now, but of course he can join the party pretty quickly with those boots of travel, although they are on cooldown for another 18 seconds, so be a little careful. Does he have a Remnant nearby? He does in the background here.
Sort of, yeah, it's a long ways away. Mickey made a bit of a change in his build. Oh, they're going in here.
Yeah, they are. The Clockwork, the pushback on the blinding light guard is like, screw that, gotta fight. Io will jump in as well, but the Infest coming out. Look at the drop on the Shadow Fiend, as you're talking about with that MKB. Now he goes back to the Shrine. He will survive, but now he's 2 shots. Mikey, it almost feels like he is going to be fine himself, forced to have it away, but man, he has to run this whole time in the back. They do get the kill. Actually, the Aegis activated. Oh boy, that's going to be a pause here from Clockwork as he disconnects, unfortunately. So that's kind of an awkward timing, though, because so Aegis respawn and Ember Spirit just used the Remnant out.
Yeah, the team's looking to back up. It's just a question of can he get out, but he doesn't have Blink. He doesn't have Infest up. I don't see him getting out of this.
Yeah, it doesn't have a supporting cast. No relocate or anything going to be happening right here. It does feel like.
And the Jug has a basher, so Rage isn't even a guaranteed walk away from it. If he gets bashed early into that Rage, he's definitely going to die.
Interesting, Juggernaut has his Helm of the Dominator right now in his backpack. I mean, I guess he might have been obviously saving for a TP of sorts, but might want to swap that around. Obviously, the TP's not doing a whole lot right now.
Yeah. All right, so if we're gonna go in a perfect theoretical situation here of what PD could do, if the Nyx gets up this hill while they're all waiting for the Lifestealer to res, burrows up here and then throws a couple impales down the line, he maybe could get an escape path out for the Lifestealer. It would be really hard to do, and it might risk his life as well. But that might be what you look to do at this point. You just get over the vision line, and then if he's really playing this perfectly, what he can do is position himself right here, like just below this cliff, and then get an impale down and force staff himself on top of the cliff. Because you can force staff while you're burrowed.
Okay.
So if since we have time to talk about it, it's a pause. In a perfect world, there's a small chance he hits the prime impale, lets Nyx run away, and then somehow force staffs himself up the cliff, and then TP's out. But all in all, he's probably just going to run away and leave his Lifestealer to die.
Yeah. I think if Lifestealer had Infest, they may try to make a play right here, but without that, it just doesn't feel like the likelihood is that real. So might have a little bit of time to look at the situation, because apparently his internet completely dropped. So as they're suggesting, hopefully it's kind of a hiccup, though, and he comes back, and we're going to resume this pretty quickly here. That's game number 2. But again, now with this hold, I mean, whether or not they kill the Lifestealer, by the way, would he have a buyback? Yeah, he does have a buyback.
Yep.
Worst case right here. So, but I don't think this is necessarily going to be going in, responding with a counter push by any means. Well, maybe. I mean,
there'd be a slight chance of running down mid. Yeah. Because the creeps are already beating on the throne towers. I think if Shadow Fiend had Boots of Travel, if they pick people up here, he could almost just bots into that and start pressuring them immediately, get buybacks, and then just run away. But yeah, it's a weird situation. The comp from going in is very strange. They literally only have Hookshot and Chaotic Offering as hard stuns. Other than that, they have to just run at you and hope they hit a bash or a mana leak or something like that. And so their team fights are very drawn out and very slow, because they kind of need Prodota to run at them, and then they just turn it afterwards. And we saw that was the first fight in a long time where Prodota did decide to run at them. It was a 3-man Chaotic Offering with a Bonds. It turned into 1 kill, and then it kind of snowballed out of control. But if PD keeps playing this game where they're separated out into only 1s and 2s, they're still fine in this game for now.
Yeah, and Ember Spirit, you always got to keep them back in your mind. Of course, that level 25 and the +2 second searing chains, what we would usually see with the Octarine core coming up now here as well. He's going to have to have plenty of locked in. Actually, did he change? Yeah, he had the person.
Yeah, he wanted to go Lincoln's, and then I think he realized Lincoln's doesn't do anything in this game.
Kind of a late
all
notice.
it's really going to stop is mana leak.
Omni Slash. on yourself.
It only stops the first bounce of Omni Slash.
Yeah.
So, okay, it procced, you save 250 damage, but you're still getting Omni Slash.
So he actually still does use the Omni
yes.
Slash, even if, okay.
Yep. Yep. It blows the Lincolns and it stops the first slash of the ult. So
interesting.
It still can mitigate some of it, but it's not like Han where, oh, haha, it did nothing.
That's always so embarrassing.
It really is.
Press R and nothing happens. You're like, well, that's on cooldown now for 120 seconds.
Now, in the later game, it could be a viable thing because it might stop the Abyssal Blade. So then, Jug maybe doesn't Abyssal your face in the middle of a team fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is exactly what Going In needed, though, to give them a tempo swing. They've been on the back foot ever since that Roshan debacle, and hopefully they feel like they got a little traction here and they can do something. I'm not really liking the way that these teams are playing with, like, kind of having the welfare 5. The Warlock has nothing. I mean, he has Arcane Boots. That's it. And we've seen other teams do this before where the guy calling most of the shots, the guy making the decisions, usually plays it like a chess game, throws down their couple abilities, watches the fight, and talks about it with the team. But Warlock having an item or two in this game could be really huge. If he got to an Ags or a mech or, pretty much anything, it could really impact the fight a lot.
I've been noticing that that impact as well in the experience charts here. If you look at the experience chart, man, look at the lead that PD has had right now, as let alone for a lot of this game. Even though, again, it feels like Going In has had more of the lead, especially with the net worth here. So, I think that has to do with those lacking supports as you're getting at, specifically with that Warlock.
Yeah, that's definitely a big part of it. I think we're seeing here. The drafts, I'd say, in the first game and even in this game are fairly similar. I don't think either team won it at draft, but we're seeing the difference in experience and, I mean, honestly, skill in how the teams play the map. PD is so good about just gleaning resources out of spots they shouldn't even be in, taking the enemy's jungle, making sure you're farming 2 or 3 lanes when they're farming 1. They just get these leads built up over time with experience and gold and kind of draw out these games, even if they're down in kills. Like we saw that first game. They were down 10,000 gold, but the gold was where they needed it to be. And Garter, most notably, just always had money. He always had new items coming in. He was this huge driving force throughout the whole game because he split like crazy. Mm-hmm. By the way, I had to laugh when you said QO formerly of Wanted. Like, I think 90% of Dota fans know QO from Liquid. He was basically like the player for that team. He was just insane.
Was he not on Wanted?
He was on Wanted. You're not wrong. It was a big joke once he went over to Wanted because it was the first time he went out of Korea.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it was interesting to see them play a few games as that Wanted roster.
Yeah, that sucked that happened. Obviously going into it, but clearly that team wasn't meant to last. To be fair, it
was. They tried. They scrimmed a ton. I couldn't say a lot about it when we were talking about it before, but yeah, no, they were on like 3-a-day scrims for weeks. And really, really tried to give it a shot, but it was on a limited time frame.
Yeah.
I mean, Chessie still has his health issues. QO coming over from South Korea. It was definitely a little rough to try, but
Peter
it was cool to see.
Streaming in The Witcher 3.
Yeah, I know, right? Sometimes you just get sidetracked. Were you watching Dota after they won TI?
What do you mean watching Dota?
After EG won TI, like, were you following it at all?
Oh yeah. I've always kind of followed Dota for quite a bit here, yeah.
Because PPD's stream for about a month and a half after TI was only The Sim.
I heard about that.
That was all he streamed. It was hilarious, but okay. So yeah, word is it's an ISP issue, no ETA.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Well,
and I mean, you really don't want to call time, even if you're PD here on them, like. Yeah, it's within your right to. It's been paused for a long time, but it is the finals, and it feels bad to win that way. And I think PD feels like they're the better team. They've took game 1. They're playing their game in game 2 still. So
I'll say if it's Insania's decision or if he has the chance to influence people on his team, then they're definitely keeping this paused until he's back. Like knowing history with him, that he will make sure that happens. But again, I don't know if he's going to make the call for the team or whatever, but I don't know. I don't know the exact rules on a case like this of how long they technically have to wait. But I
haven't looked at this specific tournament. I know in some of the other ones it was 15 minutes of pause time per game.
Is it okay?
But
especially in the finals, though, it's just such a shitty time. It's never going to be a good time. But
yeah,
the pause should last no longer than 10 minutes. I'm just quickly glancing at the rules here, and That's what it's saying. So
Yeah,
again,
which I mean, it's one of those things that if both teams have nothing but time, they're not going to want to push the timer. They'd rather play the game out.
we're not waiting on other rounds. I mean, there is that
Yeah.
part of it. So it's not like there's other teams that are waiting for this to finish. I mean, this is it for the European region. So
Yep.
obviously hope that this doesn't take too long.
Now, obviously, for whatever team does come out behind in this, I believe Qualifier 2 starts tomorrow already.
Yeah.
So staying up super late playing the finals may not be the best case,
No.
but open qualifier, first couple rounds for a team that made it to the finals probably should be pretty easy.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, though, man, it's still got to be tough. Like the grind. Like you just played what? Like with whether this finishes here or like another game, both these teams have played basically like 10 to 12 games of Dota 2 at a competitive atmosphere in tournament play over these last couple of days. And
Well, and the stress of the first few rounds when you're playing best of ones is insane. I know when I was managing Freedom, it was something that like we actually had to be scared of because all it takes is one misdraft where, oh, hey, we were on a 20-minute clock and we missed our window. Oops, I guess we're out of the tournament.
yeah,
Like, it's one of those things where you actually will have to discuss drafting and play strategies for best of ones versus best of threes because you want to give yourself options in best of ones. So if it doesn't go according to plan, you can still just be better than them and win. And it's interesting to like get into the drafting styles when it's a BO1 versus a BO3, which is like what I was talking about at the very beginning of this. PD's draft feels slightly experimental. Maybe they wanted to test the waters with the Ember a little bit, see how much the nerfs really did impact him. While you can do that in scrims, it's not the same as doing it in the finals of a tournament.
yeah.
So
I'm kind of glancing at other series here again, the North America region, especially starting in obviously Complexity versus Team Red. I mean, that's one of the bigger matchups of the Open qualifiers in general. They are just starting.
Jumping to that after this if this goes 2-0?
Well, depending on how long this takes, honestly. At this
Sure.
point, we might not. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what the timing's looking like.
Sure.
But somebody will be covering. Just to clarify on that. So it's depending on whether we jump into it or maybe we'll hop on over with Lyrical is nearby here. He's going to be taking over this stream here. He's set to hop on in about 40 minutes from now. So depending on how things are looking for us here. Obviously, we'll finish out these finals no matter what, but
yeah. So if this goes to game 3, we're in this for the long haul. But
yeah,
I mean, at this point, if you're having actual ISP issues, it could be 10 minutes, it could be 4 hours.
Oh yeah,
so
you just never know, right?
yeah, you really just have no clue.
Well, obviously, we'll stay here for just a little bit longer. We may just go on a break ourselves, depending on how much longer this lasts. But there's a couple things too that kind of keep on the Dota topic. There's been obviously these qualifiers are taking a lot of attention, but there's been some other news out there. And if you heard about the Ad Phenom situation, no longer a part of the Ad Phenom organization. They are still a team, and they still have their invite spot and everything, the team themselves, but dropping the organization. And apparently they're going to be announcing a new one here in the near future. So in case you guys missed
it kind of
that.
reminds me of what happened to Luminosity, now SK Gaming in CSGO. I feel like it was just a smaller org when they started. They made a few big tournament runs, and at a certain point, the word it callously, you got to upgrade. Like, I'm curious to see who they come out with. There's a few big sponsors out there that don't have teams, so
Yeah.
maybe we'll see SK Gaming return to Dota. It's been like 6-7 years.
Have they ever been in Dota 2? I obviously know they were originally.
Not in Dota 2, I don't believe.
Yeah, been a long time.
And then I think like Fnatic doesn't technically have a roster right now.
That would be interesting if Fnatic goes back
I mean,
to Euros
Fnatic's
area.
history was Euros.
That's true.
I actually wouldn't be surprised. That would be probably my number one guess if they go to a major org.
It's kind of right now, yeah.
Because Fnatic CSGO team's still making plenty of money. They've got some spare cash. I could see it being a possibility.
He's spreading some rumors right here. You heard it first, guys.
I know
Fnatic
nothing on the inside.
picking up
I
the
am
Ad Phenom team.
absolutely speculating here.
Obviously, yeah, we're just completely shooting.
Cloud9? Cloud9 still doesn't have a team?
Cloud9 does have a team.
Do they now?
They've had a team for a little bit. Yeah, they picked up the former, what were they known it before? The Baby Knight's one of their players.
Oh yeah, you're right. I forgot about that
Yeah.
pickup. I thought that was only a one tournament contract. Okay.
No. They are definitely
Wow,
part
they
of
actually
that.
signed him. It's Ace and Rise's team too. Yeah. Okay.
So Cloud9's still there.
TSM?
Gross.
He's been pretty vocal. Their owner Reggie's been pretty Dota Dota, so I would say I would doubt that would happen. But
maybe one of the NBA teams will just pick one up. You got like the Houston Rockets are just like, you know what? We got a Dota 2 team now.
And I mean, they weren't the first. FC Schalke out of Euro, one of the soccer orgs, picked up an org. But usually they fold in from a bigger organization. They want them to already have an org, and then they buy it out. And roll it into their structure. But that'd be the healthiest thing we could have for the game. If we had more sports teams with the budget they have picking up esports, it's such a cheap investment relative to what they spend in a year. And I think it could really do a lot for the teams.
Money for everyone.
I mean, that's all it comes down to, man. If the money gets spread around well, the scene's going to get healthier and the scene's going to get better.
Yeah.
I think stable organizations and developing a B League is pretty much the two priority things to keep a healthy scene going right now.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something that would be nice, but obviously a lot easier said than done kind of situation, and a lot of things need to come into play there. But
yeah.
Still suggesting that, obviously, they have no clue. So I think because we're in a situation like we can't really jump into another game here. Obviously, being I mean, can we? Does that work?
You can go to spectate another game, and we don't lose our spectator slot here, as long as we don't get into another lobby. If you just spectate it from Dota.
Oh.
Here, I'll test it real quick.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I guess we could just do that then. I mean,
let me test just to make sure, and nothing's changed in the last few minutes because. You're the camera. Don't want you to lose it, but
I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense with the loading and how it works there. So,
all right. So I was in the complexity game. When I hit reconnect, yeah, no, works fine. So if we want to switch over to red and complexity, and you get the word once it starts again, we can.
Let's do it.
All right, gonna go cast my boys. We definitely have no bias, right, Breaky? There's none for complexity.
Hey, all team red.
Yeah.
Go team red.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yep.
Never liked complexity.
No. Especially when they were stay green. That was the worst.
Awful.
Yeah. I definitely didn't play on that original roster.
So here we are playing, not playing. That's not a thing. We're watching now this complexity versus Team Red series. Team Red's up 5-3 early on. This is a best of one, by the way. And actually in the middle lane, 747's going to go down right here. The newest member of Complexity, of course. Reason why they're in the open qualifiers with the roster change. And he gets caught. That's an aggressive gank in the middle. A Night Stalker coming in as it happened to just wear off a Knight right there.
Wow. This is such an early game lineup from Red. They just did not want to lose a lane. And they're not. I mean, they're getting what they want out of the early game, so.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, we can get pauses everywhere.
We're bringing it with us. Looking at this game, though, I mean, obviously, how about this? Bristleback being played by Moo for Complexity. That's also kind of unique in itself. Chen being played by Z-Freak. I love seeing that, by the way. Z-Freak has history being a very good micro player.
Z-Freak just has history being a really good player. That guy's awesome.
That he does. Some say he is the MVP of Complexity. It's hard to disagree in my mind, but Jenkins actually throwing out the hook stomp. He's in trouble right here. Bristleback coming up, though. And with that Corrosive Haze up, more than enough damage to take him out. More than enough amping the damage, that is.
The Weaver baited him in so hard there. But yeah, good TP up for Moo to secure that kill. And yeah, in the middle lane, Viper doing what Viper does in the early times, and he died. So Coddle does give his life away. Poor Swindle Melons.
Oh, they might find Ryu Dota, though. And the Rubik right here. The Corrosive Phase, of course, giving them plenty of vision. Moo's trying to run it down. Doesn't have any vicious nasal goo just yet. One of the more
viscous,
funny names.
Isn't it?
Is it viscous?
Yeah, viscous.
Viscous. Let's throw on the freaking big words here.
I know. How dare we? We have to stick to five-letter words.
I'm gonna call it snot. That's basically.
You really should. Yep.
Anyways, they chase him down, gets the kill. Middle lane, though. We're not done just yet. Z-Freak summons in the army, though. And now we have Viper needing to respond to that by running away. Bloody Knight also keeping his distance. Darkness obviously has been activated. And thus he has the increased move speed. So good job getting away. They got the middle tower kill. I mean, this is a pretty early game, as you said, for Team Red with the lineup. But, I mean, Bristleback is leading the way. And how dangerous do you think Bristleback's going to be? He has an early Vanguard here. What impact is that going to be here?
Well, the fact of the matter is, if this game goes to like 40 minutes, they just can't kill him. If you're on red here, you can't. Viper is not a great carry. He doesn't do a ton of damage. Weaver, kind of the same boat. No matter how many items a Weaver gets, he's not going to out-damage most late game heroes. And if he can get to a couple more items on the bristle, he's just going to be one of those guys you can post him up at a tower and Red will try to kill him and he just won't die.
If you don't mind, want to keep an eye on the other game there.
Yeah, I'll flip back and forth.
Yeah, make sure that we don't obviously miss that action. It happens to be returning. But anyways, back to this one here. So yeah, the bristleback impact for Moo. As he's building an Echo Saber next. Interesting there, finishing the full-on magic wand. But he'll port to the bottom shrine and look to perhaps do some ancients here, as more so even tanking them for the TA probably. Oh, never mind, he's going to do them himself. So really trying to amp that farm, as TA will jungle instead in the meantime.
This Red roster of players is so interesting to me, to see how these players can come together and form a team that's actually a cohesive unit. Monib used to stand in for pro teams all the time. Back in the days when like Merlini was playing a lot, they definitely, he was a bigger name. Bloody Nine still stands in for a lot of teams. I Annihilate was on a few. Same with Ryu. I mean, they've all kind of been on the fringe of the NA scene, where they're better than most teams, but not better than the best. So,
well, they're working together right here to get a couple of kills, and yeah, big defeat over complexity. Wouldn't that be something? Monkey's actually gonna fall too. It's a triple kill for Jenkins here on the Centaur at the top lane. So yeah, they are making it work. At least in this early game, again, kind of speaks for their lineup, and this is going to be a top tower push on top of that. I mean, sure, Bristleback's leading the way in farm, but the next three all belong on Team Red over here. They have going on.
Complexity is considered the gatekeepers of North America. They make most majors. They have typically underperformed at most of them, but kind of the running joke is if you beat Complexity, you get into a major. So, I mean, we'll have to see if it holds true here with Team Red. If they take down Complexity in this best of one, we'll have to see how they do going on.
So that would be.
I don't know how Complexity does it. They're just so tenacious. Like, this team gets beat down with roster swaps and, you know, subpar performances or underwhelming performances at multiple events, and yet they always manage to make the next one.
Sneak on in. Yeah, it's almost as if they're actually maybe a little better than they get credit for. That's a possibility there, but. Yeah, no, that's but here they are on the open qualifiers, and again, I know that they should win these open qualifiers, but again, when best of ones and a matchup like this, where these are good players here on Team Red, and definitely can contest and pull out a victory even against a team like Complexity. So this is where it's a little scary for them. Now they're chasing down Ryu. Dota will finally get the kill. Bristleback, however, dropping a half life, but again, he is tanky, especially with that back turned. Don't want to necessarily fight into that. They will catch Vipress well with the stomp, and he too is going to be taking out Jenkins, a 3-man hoof stomp. But now he's locked up in the Centaur. Seafreak doing a good job of surrounding him. Slaughter is picked off in the back by Bloody Nine, but down goes Centaur. And this is a very successful fight for Complexity right now. And we're not done just yet. In fact, I Annihilate here on the Weaver. It's going to pop the time lapse, trying to run on out, and he will Shikuchi to safety. But what is Bloody Nine doing, actually? He gets caught up here. He's kind of sneaking on through. He gets blocked by the creeps of Z-Freak. And now Bloody Nine's in trouble. He goes down. Well, that did not work out too well at all for Red, and Complexity kind of calms things down a bit. Successful fight there.
Yeah, and it's funny because the way they have to calm this down is to counter, like, aggress on them. They need to take fights, but they need to take good fights.
Oh, 747.
Oh, it's brave.
Not going to happen. Trying to do it in the face. Very ambitious move.
There wasn't a lift from Rubik. If the Fade Bolt had another second or two longer cooldown, he probably makes it out. But, yeah, unfortunate.
Slaughter, Blink Dagger, 1,800 gold saved up, so he has that queued up, of course.
All right, this might make history. Is this the first time Swindle Mullins hasn't been bottom net worth in a game?
Oh, Jesus. He's down. he's ninth. He's beating the Rubik on the other side.
Oh, no. Just a joke. Just a joke.
Shots fired.
No.
Are you checking the other match, by the way?
I am. I've been flipping back and forth every minute.
So, yeah, we are on that, guys.
Thanks.
Speaking of Melons, by the way, he is going to be found right here, unfortunately. Although he's going to survive for now. Yeah, he pops the ulti, pops the blinding light, pushing them off, but it's not enough. The Void from Bloody Nine. Ends up
and Monkey's forever getting very close to a Blink Dagger. I mean, they need this Blink done so badly so they can go into fights. Right now, their initiation is awful. It's a Psionic Trap or Nasal Goo. So, getting that off on him will be huge. They'll finally be able to take fights on their own accord. And, I would imagine that might be where the tides start to turn in this game.
See Bristleback as expected leading the way. Can the Echo Saber actually be delivered right here? What about an Echo Saber on Bristleback? He doesn't seem like one that's really right-clicking people down, but...
We saw it picked up a little very early on. Switch back to the other game. It just started again.
Did it? Okay, let's go ahead and do that then.
We saw it picked up a little early on. And they reallocated on it so that it was a little less good for certain people and a little better for others. And he kind of quit picking it up. All right, so since this game is resumed, nobody died for a little while. They PD did fall back without taking that top racks after that disaster of a team fight from going in. So they were able to hold that, and then they lose their Nyx in their own jungle.
Oh,
so.
Lifestealer. He infested the last second, but he's being locked out by the Juggernaut right here. Kotl gets picked up in the background, though, and now he's going back in with the IO to support him. Juggernaut feeling the pain of that Lifestealer, realizing he has to spin. He has the healing ward down. It's going to be enough to stay alive, though. The Abyssal Blade's done onto the Lifestealer. There comes a Chaotic Offering. It's going to save him initially, but not enough for the long run. Ember Spirit flying around. Meanwhile, the second Chaotic Offering, and that's of Rubik's, actually. He stole it right there, and back here, they get another kill. Shadowfiend holding his ground with that BKB, but will it be enough? He's trying to kill Gardner first. You're on the toggle, though. He gets the kill onto him. Obviously, the explosion will end up taking him out, but that PD ends up winning the fight. And now they're looking to make a push here.
I would like to point out again, Chaotic Offering used extremely late in that team fight, and Requiem never used, yet again.
Oh, you're right.
I thought the Requiem was going to go immediately after Lifestealer's Rage fell. They didn't have an interrupt for it. It would have killed him there. But instead, he held it the whole fight, going for the man up, and didn't pay off for him.
By the way, we do note right here as Mickey. Oh my God, he's dead. Yeah, that was well, he shouldn't have been around that long. I think it's the easiest way to put it. He ends up going down as a result, so not throwing, but you're giving the other team quite a bit of hope despite that one fight there that they just had.
Now you're gonna say what?
Clockwork is still DC'd, so to clarify on that,
Are you sure it's not a visual bug?
Oh, then I don't know. Maybe it's not.
I actually don't know, but I do know that that's happened before with long DCs and pauses.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they're playing on without him. I'll keep an eye on him and see if his movements look weird.
Okay, yeah. Because if he's obviously not here, that really does hinder. Unfortunately, with the unpausing, as we talked about before. But, maybe it is a visual bug, so keep an eye, see if that's the case. Now, Ember Spirit, again, he's dead for 50 seconds. However, has a buyback, so may need to come into play right here.
No, he's definitely still DC'd.
He is still DC'd? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, he's just standing here, yeah. It looks like it. They are not able to kill Kotl, though, in the middle lane. They do not have enough follow-up, so they need to protect their bottom lane. Meanwhile, Shadowfiend with that Satanic, though. He's quite the scary target to just fight into. So the last fight kind of helping him, but yeah, no Requiem last fight, so really would like to use that here. Gets the positioning for it. Double damage is going to wear off, meanwhile, for the Shadowfiend. And he's going to be lifted into an Impale stun, but again, this is what you're talking about earlier with the Nyx and the Ags. Very difficult to kind of push into it effectively. However, they do get the tower kill. Mikey going in, meanwhile. IO getting pushed and pulled every which way, but the tether eventually going to pull him to safety. Open wounds, a rage pop going right for Mikey now. And trying to get the attention of Clockwork, but in the background, the big stun from the Nyx Assassin on a couple of heroes as down goes Clockwork. And the rest on the run. Warlock probably going to be a casualty as well, as he gets lifted and thrown back to certain death. So double kill for Mickey on the inside of it. Again, that wasn't a buyback, that was simply resurrecting there. Yeah.
I was a little sad there. Clock, when he turned back in to give his life, I thought he was going for Suicide Midas, but did not get it off before he died.
Omnislash ready, by the way. Yeah, Gardner's in trouble right here. He's taking a lot of damage from it, and he gets turned the double kill coming up for Juggernaut. Spike Carapace, though, as there's the Chaotic Offering from Rubik, however, going to be killed off right away. And then they fall back. So, yeah, he ran right into a trap right there. That Omnislash, just everything on Lifestealer.
Yeah, I'm a little... The Jugs build is very early game scaling. The Helm of Dom, the Diffusal, the Blink Dagger, it's all meant to go very quick. He's technically at 6 items at only 42 minutes in. And it's giving them the power to try to go for this right away. But if they do get held off here, it's not going to be as scalar as that, like, say, that Mjolnir from last game that we saw.
Buyback used by Lifesteal. The lift onto Blazeball, by the way. He's now in a bad spot, dropping half life again. He has Satanic. He's going to pop it right away, and they get the turn kill on a Rubik, but he bites back too.
The Endless Searing Chains is up now if he can start getting him off.
And Satanic is down. There's the Searing Chains that you're talking about. Coddle's going to get picked off, and now Shadow Fiend kind of has to hold his ground. He turns attention to Carter, however, on the Lifestealer, but the heals from the IO enough to keep him alive. The Infest at the last second as well. He comes in out with the open wounds onto Juggernaut. Now Juggernaut's the one that's dying. He will end up falling in the end. In the background, you see Shadow Fiend in the base, actually, of the Radiant. A little awkward right here, but IO will take Lifestealer with him as he ports on it. Shadow Fiend pops the BKB. The Searing Chains again locking him down by Satanic in 3 seconds. Not going to be in time. Double kill for Lifestealer. Rubik did end up falling to the death animation right there. But you know what? The hold's successful. He's dead for 110 seconds. PD needs to react to this now.
Yeah, it's proving very difficult. The clock does look like he is still DC'd, so basically someone else has to micro what he's doing. So until he dies in a fight, his movements are very slow, his reactions aren't quite as quick, and it's a lot more difficult when you're only playing with 4 heroes instead of 5. And we're kind of seeing that happen here. How close were they to being able to kill off that Lifestealer? And then the Wisp just saved him so hard. If you had 5 people there all pressing their buttons on their own, maybe they kill him. And if they kill him, that fight turns around entirely.
Oh, geez, they ought to spam pause right there because obviously he just came back apparently, so going to try to wait for Clockwork now to come on back and rejoin the game. So it looks like he and that is thankful, of course. Again, it's understandable that the game ended up resuming on without him, but he is going to officially reconnect there and coming back in. So for those that may just be joining in, again, we basically were in probably close to about a 20-minute pause time there where eventually the game just had to be unpaused. My guessing is the admin ruling. But he's back, and you see some good sportsmanship coming out from PD.
Yeah, and I did catch the very end right before they unpaused it on them, and I mean, even going in was saying thanks for letting us pause longer than we were supposed to. So they understand the situation. It's not something they had control over, but in the end, you know, you can only do so much in the way of sportsmanship. When a game gets paused that long, you lose the flow of the game in your head too. Like, it's so hard to get back to, okay, this is what we were doing, this is how the game felt, and you kind of got to start from scratch and reevaluate. And it's hard for both teams, but it's definitely harder for the aggressive team, which is definitely PD right now.
Absolutely, yes. Down goes Roshan. There's Aegis again for Lifestealer right here. Was that cheese by chance? Yes, it was. Garter also gets the cheese on top of that. Wait, who got the egg or the Aegis?
It's on Lifestealer, who's inside of Ember Spirit.
Oh, it is on a God. For some reason, I didn't see that. There we go. Yeah, so you got both right there.
Yep.
And he jumped.
And Ember did decide Lincoln's wasn't what he wanted. He actually sold the. So, I think it was probably the right call. Looking to go Shiva's for a little bit more of that area control. I just want to know what this Jug does from here. Like, he doesn't have much gold because he had to buy back in the last fight, but he doesn't really need it for the build he went. I just really don't like going Dom, Diffusal, and Blink. It's saying I want to fight really early, and it's not great into this lineup from PD.
I'm a little curious there for PD where they didn't push after they got the Aegis. I mean, again, Blazemon was dead with no buyback for another good 30 seconds there. A top tier 3's dead. Like, I feel like they could have maybe tried to push up that and try to take advantage of the little bit of window that they had.
They maybe could have. As I said, though, I think part of that's the longer pause. You've got to figure out where the game situation is. Like, sure, they could have just ran at it, but if they misthought something, maybe they thought he had buyback, maybe they thought, you know, a new item got picked up by someone that they were scared of, or just that their lane wasn't in a good enough position to get there. It takes about a minute to a minute and a half to get a creep from your tier 2 to their base. So the amount of time it was going to take maybe just wasn't worth it for them if that lane was pushed out really badly in the beginning. Instead, looking for the safer objective. This will be the last T2, and then Shrines open up.
Bastion being delivered to Garter right here on the Lifestealer, so he's got that now with the Abyssal Plate around the corner. So talk about some RNG lockdown, that with the MKB, of course. And they're going to kill this bottom Shrine at least, but yeah, they're grouping up at the bottom, kind of being a little safer about this whole picture. Level 25, by the way, he went plus 15 armor onto Lifestealer, so that's making it a lot more difficult to have a target to right-click down, of course, when it comes to spamming those auto attacks. So proving to be a good choice there. What about the other side? We didn't really check that yet. The attack range on Shadow Fiend, no surprise, and Blade Fury DPS actually on Juggernaut over the agility, really. Huh.
It over doubles the damage of Blade Fury, so it kind of makes so if you have to Blade Fury defensively in a fight, you're usually so it lets you do some sizable damage. I don't mind the pickup. I think it's really a feel thing. It's whatever you're feeling in the game, but
yeah.
There's just not really any super fun talents in this game.
Really? You don't
Magic
like the
immunity for chaotic offering golems is kind of cool, and Warlock at 25.
Oh, in this specific game. Okay.
Yeah, in this specific
I was like,
game,
there's some fun ones, but
not just in general.
Yeah. All right.
Like Nyx's level 25 can be really fun. The 200% fight carapace damage if they have some huge one-shotty hero like a PA or a sniper with an eggs or something, because you can just reflect and insta kill them. But yeah,
Juggernaut with those crits. You never know. I guess that could potentially be something, but
there's useful ones. There's just not really fun ones. And yeah, the Jug just didn't build that much raw damage. He only has 280 versus Shadow Fiend's 500. Yeah, right around 500. So.
Go. Garda going in. The Mana Lake is pushed up forward with the Force Dappo. Making the back on the Searing Chain lockdown on a couple of heroes, Clockwork and Warlock, and he got a chain lockdown, but Mickey needs to get out as he took a lot
in
of
this
damage.
wolf running around in their base right now.
Wait. Oh, is he
He's
really? Yes, he is. You're
right.
He's in there. They need to know. Yeah, he pops on out right there and he drops Warlock like it's hot. No ulti to come out. As a result, with no buyback on top of that, the lift on a Shadow Feed, and now he's in trouble. He's going to be collapsed on. He pops the BKB. He still has a Satanic as well as a Hurricane Pike. He's shooting around the right clicks. Now Omni Slash bouncing around multiple targets though. The spread is real. Clockwork going in as well. You do see under for the burrow of Nyx, but keeping the distance, the Shadow Feed and the Heal Ward doing plenty on top of that. So Nyx Assassin is picked up. Ember Spirit, no mana. He's being locked down. The safe him out. Oh, he ports him out at the last second. The IO on top of it. However, now Lifestealer's left behind.
This is Aegis. They might want to bring them back and take this fight. Yeah, it looks like they're going to try.
Oh, he pops the Rage. He's going to give them a fighting chance. Yeah, Ember Spirit going back in with the Nyx actually joining the party as well. The Blinding Light pushback, but he's going toe-to-toe with the Juggernaut. Juggernaut's going to fall. No buyback for 120 seconds. There's that kill. Onto Clockwork as well. He has buyback, uses it immediately, but no, Shadow Phoenix being locked down. Now out comes the Catacophery. Try to save him, not enough. He buys back immediately himself, though. Trying to keep them alive because this could be a big and somewhat of a final push by PD if they make it through. What a relocate pack. And spawning with the Aegis right there. But no, they're not going to. Well, maybe waiting for the creep wave here.
Yeah, definitely just waiting on the wave. They have no reason not to try this. There was a lot of buybacks that came out, and you just committed your Wisp buyback. But what a hook shot, honestly.
Yeah, that's decent positioning, and Garter is caught in it. Mickey, of course, remediating out, but Garter, he may actually die right here.
Yes, infest. Okay.
Oh, jeez. That was close.
Nyx, though. Oh, no.
A little immobile. Yeah, he's going to make them take a while, but he will fall. God, they saved the racks, man. Like,
yeah, that hook shot honestly won them that team fight. It caught the Lifestealer, which was huge, and then the Cogs just kept them stuck there, and the team just kind of ditched him because they weren't healthy.
Oh, well, still, I mean, overall, you know, decent there for PD with the respawn of the Aegis again and going back in, but they were not able to get the racks. I mean, they did get several buybacks, though, so now they have this window of, 5 minutes, really, where Clockwork, Nyx, and Shadow Fiend all are without a buyback no matter what happens here. So Shadow Fiend actually picks up an Orchid. He's going to just go for a full-on Bloodthorn.
The risk of ruin for that last fight was so high for PD. When they committed to that relocate back, Shadow Fiend tried to time the Requiem when the relocate was coming back in, and he did it about a quarter to a half second early. If he had hit that perfectly, he takes the Wisp out of the fight before it even starts, and they do good chip damage to that Ember Spirit. Instead, they lost 3, 4. I mean, it was a disaster.
Yeah.
But it really all came down to that, a half second of timing. It's just a game of inches.
So the bottom and middle destroyed here in favor of going in, and now they're going for the top. So talk about just a response here, really, from this dire side. But again, Shadow Fiend going to be jumped in. Mickey went pretty aggressive. He takes a silence, though, and now he's in trouble. The tether coming out. Maybe a relocate, not sure, but no, it's not going to be enough. He will die. He does have buyback, though, and he uses it pretty quickly. Nyx staying dead for another 20 seconds here. Shadow Fiend going to hold his ground, though. Man, going in. They're proving to be quite the issue right here, but granted, that was Ember Spirit maybe getting a little too ambitious and getting caught by the silence of the Orchid.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting to the point, though, where this going in lineup's kind of hitting their final scaling points. They got all their items, and the Lifestealer's going to struggle to get good damage out on people soon. And I definitely have to say going in probably has the edge at this point. I think they just got tempo. Roshan could be spawning very soon. And getting tempo this close to a Rosh spawn usually means you're the one to secure it. So if they get good wards up there, they get that Roshan, they're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, Mickey going to put down a Fire Remnant as they start pushing out as a team. But again, when it comes to buybacks, now you have Ember Spirit being down a buyback as well as that Nyx. Not having one still for just over 3 minutes. So, I mean, both sides definitely have their weaknesses here. You figure the Racks
absolutely.
giving them the advantage, though, once again.
So if you think you're the more competent team, if you think you can do something cool here, you get good wards, and in this case, with where the lanes are, going in should be the ones doing it, and you smoke gank. You grab a few people, you smoke gank, and you look for one of those targets with their buyback down. If you get that kill, you secure Roshan for free, and you may just get the game win off of it.
Such a tense situation here for PD.
This ward is potentially game winning. If they catch just one hero showing there and can get a grab on them, that could be how they end the game instantly. Oh, it's such a short Roche spawn.
Is it?
Look at the timer. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it'll be up in a minute.
Quickly, you're right.
So if PD can keep jockeying for position right here around the pit and get in position to take this, this is kind of what they need. Yeah, I think that's going to be our deciding fight, is going to be this next Roche.
Oh yeah, Roche obviously at this point in the games like this, as we've seen even throughout the day, this is where fights definitely, or the games are definitely won and lost. So you got the healing ward, by the way, affecting PD right here, with Rubik stealing one for his own team. They checked it real quickly right there. Wasn't up just yet, but again, he's going to be up any second now. So Cheshire Cat has a feeling that's the case. He's just going to sit here,
the
wait for that.
Complexity series, by the way, just as an aside, it is a best of 3.
Oh, that's the semifinals? Really?
They're in game 2 right now, so looks like it must be.
Oh, you know what? Looking at, okay, their quarterfinals started best of 3. You're right. That's different than the Europe. That's weird. Huh.
Oh, they only have one slot though, right? Is there only one going from the opens?
Oh, no, there's multiple. That's what it is. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 teams, I think, instead of just one. Yeah, okay.
So they're looking to make the end of it a little more competitive.
That makes more sense. Okay, okay. Gotcha.
Little differences between regions. Something new with the new SA region being thrown in, and the number of teams invited. Kind of got a little weird.
It does, yeah. NA only has, they only have 3 teams in the end. Obviously, it got invited to the regionals themselves. So there's 2 spots, I believe, for each qualifier. Yeah, so that makes more sense. You got this, and then the semi, and then the finals aren't even played as a result, as both teams make it on. So, Anywho, Roshan's up here in this game, 54, really 55 minutes into the game now. So have they really noticed yet? I don't think they've actually seen that yet, because they've been in the area constantly checking him. I don't think they've actually checked since he's resurrected.
Yeah, Garter, come on, 4 more steps towards the pit.
No, Nix, over
please. Here. You see so many people on the map.
Oh, this is like such a prime time too, because they're nowhere nearby to be defending this.
Going in now doesn't want to show heroes. You don't want anyone showing on the map if you can help it. You want to push that aren't going to prove we're there, so that PD has to be terrified there's just 5 heroes waiting smoked outside the pit for them.
Yeah. That's true. God. Cheshire Cat's getting... Okay, they're going to see it here, finally. Yeah, they're spam pings right as they see it. However, going in, they're pushing out the creep waves. They see nobody on the map currently. And yeah, they are going to fall back, though. Look at that.
They need to smoke now. It's taking too long.
Nah, they're not going to get here in time at this rate.
Yeah, nope. Now, they may still want to take this fight. Getting this high ground position here is pretty good for the fight. So if they can sit on the hill and take the fight, they may actually be able to be okay, even if this Aegis is secured, but it's too slow. They're moving way too slow.
Here we go. Roshan, it's going to die any second. Now Clockwork going to tell it to the last second, but it's picked up by Garter. And now Nick's actually jumping it very aggressively. Catches the Juggernaut in the background. Chaotic Offering going to be used by the Warlock, though. However, Clockwork feeling the pain. He will get pushed out despite the playbill. The counter ultimate of the Warlock ultimate from Rubik being stolen right there. Shadowfiend just going toe-to-toe. Going to take out that Chaotic Offering. Meanwhile, teammates are dying in that Coddle as well as the Warlock. They're both dead. Buybacks coming out, though. Garter with that rage pop sitting on the front lines against the Juggernaut. And now Mickey joining in as well. But Blazebot just sitting here right-clicking. However, the Satanic is on cooldown currently. Will not have that heal on up. Despite Carapace done. And there's the kill on a Shadowfiend as well as the Juggernaut that bouncing around for Mickey. And they are both dead. The cores, that is, of the Juggernaut as well as the Shadowfiend. They have buybacks, though. There's one on Clockwork. Warlock, that is going to be a dieback, by the way. Wisp is currently dead with no buyback for the other side. So can they truly push off of this? The Aegis was popped right there, it looks like.
Yeah, you essentially just reset the game. Buybacks are going to get forced again to get in that same tense position. Now there's no more Aegis. And that Roche kind of did nothing. It's going to cost the team a couple buybacks, which isn't great. But there was buybacks from both sides to keep that fight going.
Gardo will just pop the rage, get that mana leak off once again. But yeah, they really can't capitalize big time. If anything, try to get the buyback, but it's that fine line of don't overcommit either and let them get a turn kill. So yeah, there we go. Juggernaut buys back and the immediate turnaround.
Yeah, and I think that'll be the only buyback they need. I think Shadow Fiend can hold on to his. They shouldn't need it. That'll scare him off. So.
Yeah, another hour game. This is going to be our 3rd hour-long game today, man.
Yeah, and potentially we've got another one coming. So.
That's true. Obviously, if Going In wins this, then we have a game 3 coming up as a result. So that is what we are at here.
The Juggernaut could just sell his Helm of Dom here, collect the BKB, and have a fresh 10-second BKB for the next fight, which could be what makes or breaks it. So we'll have to see if he decides to go that route or if he wants to keep the Dom as a stash item.
Yeah.
Backpack, sorry, not stash.
Making use of that backpack. We've seen that more and more as time has gone on. Of course, team, he's swapping in and out things like Blink Dagger, so the Refresher, of course, kind of the big one. Can definitely make use of that slot right there. There's 3 slots even.
This Bloodthorn pickup on Shadow Fiend is going to be huge, though, because Lifestealer did opt to go for a Butterfly. So if they can get the Bloodthorn off on him pre-Rage, and, you know, the Butterfly evasion's gone during the silence, the Rage can't be used, they could just blow him up and end a team fight before it starts.
Yeah, there's that Butterfly you're talking about there. He's going to jump inside Nyx, actually. And it seems like PD wants to make a pretty aggressive play here. Perhaps tired of waiting. Again, they're the ones that are up 1-0, so again, worst case they go to game 3, but so maybe not feeling as much pressure in the sense of we need to really just sit tight and hold our ground. But Cheshire Cat looking for that opportunity. They didn't detect him right here. He's going to find a jump possibly. Yes, they want Shadow Fiend. Can they get the quick kill off the bat? Clockwork with the spots, as well as the ultimate from Warlock. Gonna stall it for now, and their turn with the Satanic popped on top of that Nyx Assassin. He is getting low. He actually doesn't die in the end. Yes, he does in the back. A little sword meanwhile on a Garter, and now turning onto the Shadow Fiend. No Requiem going off. That's his death animation. He is dead and staying there for the time being. He does have that buyback available though. Back here in Sania, he's dealing with the Coddle, trying to run him down. There's the buyback on a Shadow Fiend now coming out. And the Yelling Word put down from Juggernaut to kind of reset something. So they do get a buyback, and again, they're going to try to reset now.
They forced 5 buybacks total then out of Going In. Every buyback is down on that team for the next 3 minutes. So another Nyx pick like that, another all-in, and it's game time. They're ready to go. They have every buyback on their team except for Nyx is very close and Wisp is a ways off, but their cores all have it. So I liked the aggression there from Nyx. I think he made the wrong target choice. Shadow Fiend's so hard to bring down, and if you don't kill him, he just BKB Satanics and he's full.
Yeah.
So it was an all-in play from them. If they got him, they win the game, more than likely, if they got him cleanly. But couldn't quite bring him down before that BKB Satanic came in.
Yeah, bought enough time. So once again, a reset as you're talking about, but a chance for PD, which is so, again, it feels kind of weird to say considering the middle and the bottom have been cleared out here. But they do have their tier 4s. They do have the top lane. And if they get one of those cores, especially ideally the Shadow Fiend killed without that buyback, then most certainly going to feel comfortable about pushing in again, depending on how much they have up, of course, themselves. But another Roshan, I mean, can they really risk? Yeah, they can't really risk waiting for that, can they? Because by the time the Roshan's up, then that also means that those buyback timers.
Yep. PD does not want to wait for another one because the more this game draws out, I think their chances get a little bit lower. So they're going to want to take the game to them right away with all these buybacks being down. And one thing to watch, the Wisp picked up a Lotus Orb. You can reflect Omni Slash.
Yeah. So
we're going to have to see if we get to see the Dancing Monk where they both Omni Slash each other with no one else nearby and it does nothing. It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it's hard to tell sometimes, especially with a Rubik there as well. It's like, is that him jumping around or, you know, what's going on here? So
this Rubik has hit so many Chaotic Offering steals. Yes. I've been so impressed by this.
Oh, and Nyx is going in, but they see him first actually pop out from the Garter, of course, on the Lifestealer. Nyx is going to get picked up off to the side. It looks like the Island has something to say about that, though. Meanwhile, the BKB, of course, popped by BlazeBond, but now it is wearing off. Mickey in the back lines on top of him, but it's finally going to use the Revenant to get down and out. Got to reset some things. The chase continues. Warlock being locked down. Should be done. Oh, the pulling right there. Down goes the Shadow Fiend. No buyback. And the monster kill streak is real for Garter. Triple kill for Mickey. And here comes that final push now from PD. They're going to go right for tier 4s, no doubt. There's a port back to the middle lane. Okay, they want to push out the creep wave here. And they go right down the middle.
Backdoor. But yeah, this should be, at the very least, totally equalizing on the rack. They should be able to get mid and top for sure, potentially in the game. They may just skip these barracks entirely and go for the tier 4s. Knowing all the buybacks are down, that's probably the best option. The Jug alone cannot waddle into this fight and stop them.
Chaotic Offering was ready to go for Warlock. Couldn't get it off, though. Juggernaut, ooh, he's almost
It was still
right
on
there.
15 seconds or so cooldown when he died. That's why they focused him instead of the cores. They knew it was coming up soon. Maybe they didn't know exactly, but getting rid of him before it got off was huge.
Obviously, if you're Juggernaut, the last thing you want to do is feed right here, so he's just keeping his distance. He almost got caught by the cogs of Insania, actually. Go figure, playing that Rubik, but he does stay alive. They take out the middle. They're going for the bottom, so they're really trying to control with the racks right here. The lift on a Juggernaut.
Ooh, too deep.
Kind of put the pressure onto him, trapping him in. That Lotus Orb is up, but Garter, he doesn't really care. He's just auto-attacking him down, pops the Mantis down, push away. He's in trouble, though. The open wood's coming out. Out comes the Chaotic Offering defensively, though. Trying to keep him alive. No, Mickey will finish that job, and now he's down with no buyback. That may have just done it, PD. They're going to the regionals here out of the European region, pending some insane miracle comeback. Yeah, GG, well played. Wow, Prodota does pull through.
Final jump. The Juggernaut there stood too close to Cogs, just got beat on by Garter while he was in the Cogs. And that ended the game right there.
Wow, they are going to the regional. They got to feel excited about that. And both games a comeback of sorts, too. Like, that's the crazy thing for me. And, you know, that's where you look on the other side of the spectrum at going in, and you got to feel a little bit almost sad for them of sorts. But that's, of course, how it's going to be, where one team wins and one team loses. But, yeah, it's going in. They had leads in both of these games and just simply were not able to close it out. Prodota coming from behind. And
so much of it, I think, comes down to the mental game. You obviously know two of these people have some Han experience. They're very, very well voiced in these high tense, high competition environments. And we got to see them stay calm, play their game, take good fights, and really close these games out, as you said, from a deficit. So very, very well played to see.
Yeah. A lot of fun to watch, and there is that part of me that obviously I'm a little bit excited about this result too, but props to no, not at all. No, a little bit excited here, but at the same time, again, going in, they do have another qualifier here. Yes, it's a grind. Yes, that means they got to get right back into it starting tomorrow, but they obviously are going to be one of the favorites now. I mean, this is a team that clearly is also a very good one, and one of the teams you'd almost expect to not only get back to even the finals, let alone winning the second qualifiers. But for the first one, it will be Prodota, and they join the 6 other teams, I believe. I guess that'd be 5 other teams, or 7 other teams. How many teams actually did get invited? It was 7, actually. Elements Pro Gaming, Team Secret, Ninjas in Pajamas, Bears, Alternate Attacks, Cloud9, and Alliance. Those are the 7 invited teams. And now you have Prodota here. And apparently Team IKEA actually won the Battle Cup champions. I wasn't aware of that, actually. Okay.
Yeah, so first major they're letting Battle Cup winners in, so we'll see how this goes in the close qualifier. It's an interesting way to do it. It gets rid of some of that best of one RNG that these open qualifiers can have. So
yeah,
definitely will be interesting to see how one of those teams does in this.
All right, well, Z-Rock, I think that's going to do it for us today. And with the European coverage, obviously that lines up very well. Pretty much the time we're expecting to be going off here anyways as far as our coverage. But again, it is a 24/7 hub ideally here for the Beyond the Summit, so we're going to be going down, but the stream will be coming right back up. I believe Lyrical going to be stepping on, and he's going to jump into some North America action and going from there. So I know I'll be watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. But Z-Rock, I really do appreciate you joining me for these finals, at least at the broadcast here. Any shout-outs, anything you want to say here before we wrap up?
I just want to give a shout out to all the old Han people watching, because obviously you're very well known over there. I used to play it competitively back in the day, and get to see 2 Han boys win this. So
yeah. Shout out to Han Trash.
Exactly. Maybe dead, but it's not dead in our hearts.
No, it's not. Anyways, as far as myself, again, I really do appreciate you guys tuning in. I will be back. We'll be back tomorrow, though. Definitely looking forward to some more coverage, guys. At the same time tomorrow, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, and that's again, I think 1700 Central European time, I believe. So that's a time zone of the time that I personally will be coming back on. But again, coverage continues, guys. Definitely stay tuned to the stream. Again, I believe North America action going to be coming up next. Until then, guys, congratulations one more time to Prodota and their victory.